Okay, so you've got pain. You got pain in your back, pain in your knees, pain everywhere. We all have pain, right? Back pain is the ever looming pain that everybody in this country has. So, big question is, what's the best comfort cruiser bike for pain, or what's the best bike I can find for pain in general? So, you've come to the right place. Specifically at 630, what we focus on is comfort. I'll talk about what we can offer, what you can look for generally in a bike if you have pain, and maybe some other companies out there that also have some good options to consider. So when we talk about pain, I mean, number one is you need to really identify, do you have this pain normally when you're walking around in everyday life? Or is this something you only experience on a bike? So, I'd like to start by first talking to our potential riders and, first identify where are the pain points in their body, either in normal life or when you're riding. Sometimes you may feel no pain at all when you're just walking around, but all of a sudden you get your body into a bike riding position, puts a lot of pressure on a specific joint or area in your body that you never knew was going to hurt. So, which is important, for us to communicate over the phone or to come in to our store so we can help work with you. So I would say I kind of segregate, on a bike, there's three real major, maybe four actually, real major areas of pain that can affect a rider. I would say, well, number one, your arms and shoulders. Really, you could isolate it from shoulders, elbows, wrists, but we'll just say your arms. You've obviously got your back. You've got your hips, and you've also got your knees. So that's the four areas that I would focus on, and how we can adjust the bike to work around those two. So starting out, if you have bad everything, let's say you just have pain everywhere, I think the first thing you want to do is you want to steer away from any kind of performance geared bike. Any performance geared bike is really going to put a rider in a very tense and pressure, a lot of pressure on your body, because you're going to want to be in an aggressive riding position, and the focus of the riding position is how do I get this bike going as fast as possible, basically. So look for any kind of bike that's not performance focused, it's more comfort focused. What you're going to look for really is riding position. What you're going to want is a riding position that's going to keep your body in the most relaxed state as possible. So, sitting upright is natural. All the gravity is bringing you down. You don't want it to have to be forward or back, because if that's the case, you're going to have to be holding your back in that position as opposed to just letting it all naturally go down. So the other thing is your arms. If you have to have your arms anywhere where you have to hold your arms up like this, out in front of you, it's going to create, there's going to be constant tension on your arms. So it's going to be like a light workout, just you're almost flexing a little bit. So if you can bring your arms a little bit closer to your body and they can be sort of resting on the handlebars, it's going to take the tension off of your shoulders and your elbows. It's going to feel a lot nicer. So basically you can have them either here or here, but the key is going to be getting the handlebars a little bit closer to your body so your arms don't have to stay in a flexed position while riding. The same is true for your knees and your hips. So there's a couple bikes I'll recommend that actually have a riding position where the pedals don't fall directly below your hips. The pedals are actually a little bit in front of your hips. And this is just going to release some downward pressure off of your hips. It's going to put the hips, your feet just a little bit out in front of you, which is going to almost make it like, you're kind of a little bit on a recliner, but not too much where you can't still get momentum with the pedals. It's just a great riding position to take pressure off of the body again. Again, if you have pain, the goal is going to be how do we get you in a position where we're taking pressure off of your body. So to segue off of that too, the seat is going to be a really key element to all of this. Now, most people, I would say, generally don't have pain on a day-to-day basis in their rear end, but pain in your rear when riding can be a real problem, especially when you're going for a long time. You're going to want to have a seat that's very cushioned. I'd recommend a spring saddle or a foam saddle or a gel saddle, something that's really cushy and has enough width to really cushion your rear. If you don't, you're going to create some new pain that you maybe didn't even experience before riding a bike. So with that said, I would say the one recommendation I can make is if you have pain everywhere, look for a bike with pedals shifted forward, upright riding position, handlebars close to your body. Now, if you just, let's say, have pain in your back, you could opt for a bike where it just gives you an upright riding position. As long as the handlebars are in a position that are close enough to your body to keep your back upright, I wouldn't necessarily say that you need the handlebars to be close to your body. I wouldn't say that you need the forward pedaling. It's not necessary. What we're focused on is just keeping you in an upright position. So as long as the riding position of that particular bike keeps you upright, it doesn't really matter the handlebar position or the pedal position. Now, if you have knee pain, I would say if you have no back pain and just knee pain, again, same thing. I wouldn't worry too much about, is it as an upright ride? Doesn't matter. If it's in your knees, you can lean forward, you can lean up. It's really up to you. The handlebars won't matter so much, but the pedal position may matter. So I would say if you do have bad knee pain, number one, it's going to be really important that you adjust your seat height and your seat shift. So some seats can even move forward and backward. Some seats, all seats can move up and down. And then there's also geometry of some bikes that have the pedals moved forward. So those, if you have knee pain, I would look at those three things. Number one, the seat height, the seat tilt, and the seat shift. And then also, is the bike forward pedaling or not? Without knowing specifically each rider, it's hard to recommend which is most important to any one person. I would say, generally speaking, with knee pain, you just really need to make sure that the bike is properly adjusted to you. Otherwise, I would again just go back to a very general bike that I'll recommend at the end here that is just good for all over pain. Then moving on, the same thing is true of hip pain. So if you have hip pain or really tight hips, it's going to come down to also riding position. So if you have really tight hips and you just want comfort, you want to make sure you're sitting up. And you want to make sure that the seat is adjusted correctly, so you're not straining your hips or there's no unnecessary pressure on your hips. And a lot of times it just comes down to adjusting the specific bike correctly. So if you do have hip pain, you want to make sure one thing with the handlebars is you don't want to be leaning too far forward, because that's going to put pressure on your backs, but it's also going to put pressure on your hips. And you don't want to be in a compromising riding position that's not suitable for your body type. So those are really, looking at all the elements. You've got your arms, your backs, your knees, your hips. If you're looking for a general bike that's really good for pain, I can make a few suggestions. Number one is our 630 Every Journey. It's a bike that's geared totally for comfort, to keep riders in an upright position, arms in a relaxed position, hips and knees in a very relaxed position. It's a bike where it's all about taking pressure off any pain points. The goal is to leave riders being able to get off the bike without feeling any new pain. I would also suggest there's an Electra Townie, very similar to the Every Journey, geared very much for a similar purpose, to eliminate pain or reduce pain for rides. There's also some other bikes out there that exist. There's a brand called Tuesday. They have another bike very similar to that, geared to total body comfort. The other thing to look for is there's a category obviously called comfort bikes. And I would say comfort bikes in general are good for pain, but again, I'd go back to make sure it's right for the type of pain you're experiencing. So if you opt for a comfort bike, you want to make sure that it keeps you in an upright position, keeps you relaxed. Some comfort bikes may still err a little bit more on performance. They might not be for total body comfort. So we have a model called the Body Ease, which is also great. It's in the name. It's all about keeping the body at ease, upright, relaxed arm position, take tension off the body. When you want to look across other brands and who else has some good other, comfort bikes to look at, I would say Electra. I would say Jamis is another good option. They have some comfort bikes. Like I said, Tuesday. And Raleigh also has some great options. They don't focus on comfort, but they have some good options as well. And just make sure that after looking at all of them, you know for sure that you're choosing a bike that's geared towards your body pain. So if you want to follow up with us, you can contact below, find our email, send us an email, tell us about your body specifically, and we can help steer you in the right direction. Or take a look, browse our bikes, look at the Every Journey. It's available in men's and women's. Or the Body Ease, also available in men's and women's. So please take a look, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.